Welcome students, I am Dr. Smita Sharma and I'll discuss oscillators in this lecture. This is part of your MSc final class. So we have already discussed two lectures regarding oscillator basic principle and types of oscillator. Today we will be discussing LC oscillators. Now before discussing LC oscillators, there are some things that are to be essential, that are to be taken up. First and foremost is the starting voltage. How does signals in oscillators start generating? We say that it does not take any input signal. So where does the input signal, first input signal arises, or first output signal is generated in which manner? So first of all, we'll take the starting voltage. So it is provided by noise voltage. So it should be remembered that the initial voltage that is fed into the feedback amplifier, we say oscillator is made up of two things, an amplifier and a feedback network, without giving any input. But we know for an amplifier there is essential condition that there should be some input. So initial input signal for an oscillator is the noise voltage. Such noise voltages are produced due to random motion of electrons in resistors that are used in the circuit, active circuits that we are taken, whether we are taking transistor or IC. We take up necessary resistors, and these, when the current flows in these resistors, noise is produced, and these noise voltage behave as a starting voltage for the oscillator. Now in oscillator principle we have discussed the basic oscillator principle, and we have also always said that it should follow, an oscillator should follow a Barkhausen criteria. So first of all we'll be seeing what is a Barkhausen criteria. For that we'll again take the basic oscillator principle. An oscillator is basically a feedback amplifier in which a small part of output is fed back to the input, and the signal that is fed back should be of proper magnitude and it should be in phase with the input signal, so that the output is AC voltage, AC signal. So this we have represented by a block diagram. So here there is no input. This is the difference voltage that is equal to input voltage and the feedback voltage, and then it is fed to the amplifier and we get the output. A part of output is again fed back to the feedback network, and then it in turn it returns to the input. So because input is 0, we can also make this diagram in this following manner. There is no input, only feedback signal is being provided. So here, looking through the diagram, we can say that input voltage is 0 and feedback is positive, because here it is summing junction where it is being added. Now the closed loop gain is replaced by AV instead of AF. We'll be writing AV. So VD, we can write VD. This is VD. VD is the difference voltage. It is equal to V input plus VF as seen from the diagram. So we can write VD is equals to V input plus VF. Also, output voltage is always amplified version of the input voltage. Here input voltage is VD and the amplification factor is AV. So we can write V naught is equals to AV VD. Now VD is VIN plus VF. So here I have written VIN plus VF. It should be written VF, but here instead of VF I have written its value. What is VF? VF is the feedback voltage, which is always a part of the output voltage, and that part is called B or beta. So here VF is B V0. So I have written here BV0. Now taking V0 on one side and V input on one side, we get this equation: V0 1 minus AVB is equals to AV into VIN. Further simplifying, we get V0 upon V input is equals to AV upon 1 minus AVB. But now, as from the oscillator principle, we know V input is always 0. It is necessary condition. The oscillator, there is no input is given, and output is obtained, that is output is not 0. So this implies that if V0 upon VIN is equals to AV upon 1 minus AV and V0 is not 0 and this is 0, this implies that 1 minus AVB should be 0, or we can write AVB is equals to 1. Or in polar form, we can write along with the phase that AVB is equals to 1, that is it should be either 0 degree or 360 degree. So this condition can be summarized as in two conditions of the oscillations. One, the magnitude of loop gain AVB must be at least 1. This is the necessary condition for oscillation to produce. And second is the total phase shift of the loop gain must be equal to 0, or it should be 360 degree. So these are the two conditions for oscillation that are summarized. The above condition, this condition is for self excitation, and it is very important condition, and it is called Barkhausen criteria. In actual case, in the beginning, oscillations are kept A, B is greater than 1, so that oscillations build up, and after that A, B is taken up to be 1 for maintaining the oscillation. This arrangement is automatic in oscillator. This we'll be seeing as we'll discuss different types of oscillator. So this is the Barkhausen criteria that we were mentioning again and again. So what does Barkhausen criteria say? A, B should be greater than 1. It is in some books it is written beta, and in some books it is written B. Both cases are same. A, B is greater than 1, or for oscillations to build up, and AB should be equal to 1 to obtain a sustained oscillations. Now we'll discuss the second aspect that is necessary for an oscillator, that is frequency stability. Now what is the frequency? First we'll go through its definition. It is the ability of the oscillator circuit to oscillate at one exact frequency. If we have put that it should oscillate at 1 kilohertz frequency, then oscillator should continuously produce the frequency at 1 kilohertz without variation. So this is this ability of the oscillator is called frequency stability. Now why will frequency change? So we'll discuss. The primary factors that may change frequency are temperature changes. First and foremost are the temperature changes, because as we work on the oscillator, as the flow of current is maintained, there is heating is produced, and generally the temperature of the circuit starts changing. Next is change in DC power supply. The power supply that we are using might also change. So these are the primary factors that lead to change in frequency of the signal. These changes cause variations in op-amp gain. How do frequency change? Because due to these changes, due to temperature changes and DC power supply, first variation that occurs is the op-amp gain. If we are using op-amp in the amplifier and its gain changes, then our Barkhausen criteria will change, and frequency in turn will change for that respective oscillator. In junction capacitance and resistance of the transistor, it also causes temperature. We have already studied that temperature causes changes in the junction capacitance and resistance of the transistor. So its parameter changes, and in turn the frequency of the oscillator changes. Many other external circuit components that heat up on continuous working might also lead to change in the frequency stability. Now this should be while designing oscillator or while making, this should be taken up. This issue should be taken up. Another important factor that determines the frequency stability is the figure of merit, Q of the circuit. So Q of the circuit is main important parameter that determines the frequency stability. How? The higher the Q, the greater is the stability. The circuit which have higher Q has greater stability, and because of this reason the crystal oscillators are more stable than RC or LC oscillator. Generally at high frequency oscillator, they both the frequency doesn't remain stable for RC and LC oscillator, but for crystal oscillators it is almost stable. Now before discussing LC oscillator, we have taken up two things. We'll be seeing that for LC and crystal oscillators, our circuits are generally used where high frequency signals are needed, and RC circuits are used where audio frequency signals are needed. So we'll be discussing both LC and RC type circuits in the oscillator, but I have here briefly told you that for LC circuits are basically used for high frequency generation, and RC circuits are used for low to medium frequency signals. Now we'll be taking LC oscillator, but for LC oscillator one more condition is required that should be taken up before discussing LC oscillator. That is circuit requirement for self-excited oscillation. This thing is very necessary to study for LC oscillator. So this is necessary condition. So we'll be studying this first and then we'll take the LC oscillator. So here in the diagram you can see an amplifier with the amplification factor or gain A, and we have drawn three impedances Z1, Z2 and Z3 in such a manner. This is the basic feedback oscillator circuit taken up, and here we have used three reactive elements Z1, Z2 and Z3 by which feedback is obtained. So these two provide the feedback and this is the active device or amplifier. So A gives the pi phase difference. If we are taking, suppose we are taking common emitter amplifier, so input is 180 degree, output is 180 degree out of phase of input. So A gives pi phase difference and feedback signal gives another pi phase difference. So feedback signal is made in such a way that it provides the rest 180 degree phase, so that the input and output, the feedback signal and the output input signal are both in same phase and they follow the Barkhausen criteria. So in complete circuit loop we get 2 pi phase difference, which is condition for Barkhausen criteria. First we will be discussing this diagram. Here A is the amplifier, ZL is the load impedance. We'll be taking it, we'll be calculating it. ZL is the load impedance and is equivalent to Z2 in parallel combination with Z1 plus Z3. This we have taken. Potential developed at ends of Z1 is used for feedback and output is taken from Z2 or Z3 plus Z1 ends. If common emitter amplifier is used, terminals 1, 2 and 3 Here you can see here in diagram this 1, 2 and 3, these terminals for common emitter amplifier are called base, collector and emitter respectively. Now this common emitter amplifier stage can be made in as an equivalent diagram, and we have made a short equivalent diagram here. So what is this? This is equivalent output circuit diagram for common emitter amplifier amplifier oscillator. Here this part is the common two parts of the common transistor, and rest is the feedback part. So here we know HRE is an important parameter of the transistor, but here it has a very small value, and it is taken to be negligible. Also, by definition, we know transconductance GM is always equal to HFE upon HIE, and output resistance R0 is equal to HOE upon 1 upon HOE. This by the theory of transistors we already know. All this we'll be using. First of all, we'll calculate ZL, that is the impedance, equivalent load impedance. See, what will be load impedance? Z2 is parallel to Z1, combination of Z1 plus Z3. So we can write from the circuit Z2 Z1 plus Z3 upon Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3. This we can write, as you can see. First we'll add up these, and then we'll make the parallel combination. So what will be the output voltage? Output voltage will be V0 is equals to minus GMVBE into R0 ZL, R0 plus ZL. This is the voltage gain of the amplifier without feedback, and it is defined as A upon V0 upon VBE. So by putting this gain, we can calculate here. Now if we write GM upon VBE, GM upon R0 as AV, then this equation can be written as A is equals to minus AV ZL R0 plus ZL. Also, the feedback voltage VF can also be written as feedback factor into output voltage in this manner. Here this feedback Z1 upon Z1 plus Z3 is the feedback factor. Now why we have calculated AV, A and beta? Because we want to satisfy the Barkhausen criteria. So we'll be taking A into beta. We'll simply multiply it, and by suitable calculation we obtain AV Z1 Z2 upon R0 Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 plus Z2 into Z1 plus Z3. Now here we have taken, if we take Z1, Z2, Z3 as pure reactive elements, that is either they are L or C, so then in that case we'll be writing Z1, Z2, Z3 as JX1, JX2, JX3. X I have written because it is not defined whether it is L or whether it is C. Now putting these values, we finally obtain this. Now for an oscillator, we know the phase difference must either be 0 or 2 pi, and for that the coefficient of Z should be 0. It means this factor should be 0. So this is represented in equation, this x1 plus x2 plus x3 should be 0. So if we put this as 0, then we get A beta is equals to minus AV upon x into x1 upon x1 plus x3. Now we know, for according to Barkhausen criteria, this should be 1. So putting it equal to 1, we get AV is equals to minus x1 plus x3 upon x1. But from equation 1, we know x1 plus x3 is minus x2. So we put the value and this cancel out, and we get x2 upon x1. So what do we predict from this? This means that from equation B, x1 and x2 should be of same sign. It means either they should both be L or they should both be C. From equation A, we know that x3 will be opposite in sign with the x1 plus x2. It means that x3, if we take x2 and x1 as L, then it should be of opposite sign, that is, it should be C. So what we can write and what do we interpret? If x1, x2 is L, then x3 should be C. If x1, x2 is C, then x3 should be L. So this is the necessary condition for LC oscillator. We'll be taking this condition in our LC oscillator discussion. Because of this, if we take 2L, then we get a Hartley oscillator, and if we take 2C, then we get a Colpitts oscillator. We'll be discussing these in the next lecture. Thank you.